Okay, so we've got the rollovers done. Now we actually want to go and buy this particular property. Now, the thing that the superannuation law, when this law pretty much came in, what they tried to do is they tried to ensure that if you went and borrowed money to buy a property, they wanted to make sure that the risk associated with that loan was more quarantined to the property and not the rest of your superannuation money going forward. Okay, so what the law pretty much tried to do is it tried to make you establish what's called a bare trust and whatnot that holds the actual property in trust for the superannuation fund as long as the actual loan is being paid off. So what I mean by that is this. You've got the money sitting in here and we actually want to buy a property. So when we go and actually buy this property, we again have to set up this trustee, again we can call it N&T Super, I guess, Property Proprietary Limited. Again, it's a trustee company, again with Tony and Nada as the directors, and this is simply going to be set up just to hold the property on behalf of the super fund. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay? The trustee and the bare trust, when it's established, it doesn't have to get an ABN number, doesn't have to get a tax file number, it doesn't have to lodge a tax return. It just pretty much does nothing, zip. Okay? It just holds the property on behalf of the superannuation fund. So the company is set up. Again, there is it's called a bare trust, or sometimes it's called a custodian trust. In whatever name you want, okay, and that structure just sits there, okay, ready to actually buy the property. When Nada and Tony go to the real estate agent, and actually the real estate agent says, okay, you want to buy this property in your self-managed superannuation fund, and you're borrowing to buy this property in your superannuation fund, we have to remember that the name that goes on the contract, okay, is not the name of the trustee, but it's the name of the trustee of the bare trust. Okay, that's probably one of the most common mistakes I've come across ever since this legislation came along. That a lot of people were putting this name as trustee for the super fund on the contract, as opposed to this name on the actual contract. Okay. Okay, so we've set up the trustee, we've set up the bare trust. Now we actually need to borrow. Okay, but you've only got 150,000 here. This property is worth 600,000. Okay, so we need 450,000. Okay, to borrow. So I guess all we do, we'll just go to any particular bank. Okay, and let's say we go to Westpac to borrow the money. Now this is what's called an external lender. So all the super fund is doing is going to a bank and saying, excuse me bank, we as the trustee on behalf of this super fund would like to borrow $450,000 to buy this particular property. Okay, so the loan application is put through, and the $450,000 is lent from the bank to the superannuation fund. Okay, now the conditions of a superannuation fund to borrow property are a little bit different to the traditional way of borrowing. In your handouts right on the back page, just so you know it's there. So it's just a bit of general information to tell you that, okay, if you want to, if in this case they want to go and borrow $450,000, they're happy to lend up to 80% of the value of the property. Okay, there's some indicative rates of what the variable fixed rates that possibly is around at the moment. You can have monthly, fortnightly, or weekly repayments. An indication of costs to set up to application fees and whatnot. Okay, and what the bank will pretty much look for to service the loan. Okay, things like they look at what super's coming in, what rent the property is going to actually receive, and what other income the actual super fund is going to make in order to be able to pay or make those monthly payments. Okay, so just know that it can be done, and pretty much most banks are on board these days, and it's just a question of seeing what the best deal is. We have an in-house broker who does all our self-managed renovation fund loans. Yola's in the audience somewhere. There she is at the back. Yep. So if you want a little bit more information in terms of how it all works or whatnot, feel free to have a chat with her. But again, it's a super fund that actually approaches the bank and actually makes the application. It's not you individually making the application. It's a super fund that actually makes the application to actually borrow.